Once upon a time, there was a king named Adama. He wore a shining crown and ruled over a great nation. But deep inside, King Adama was not happy. The title of king made him feel trapped. His people loved him, but they didn't know the pain he carried every day. You see, in his kingdom, Kamzilu, the king couldn't marry or have any children. The title of king came with many sacrifices. Adama had given up on everything for his people, but it had left him feeling lonely and empty inside. He longed for a normal life, like the people in his village. He wanted to live free, without the weight of the crown on his head. One day, after a long night of celebrations, he couldn't take it anymore. He left the palace quietly, without anyone noticing him. The crown, which he had worn every day, felt so heavy. He took it off and left it on the floor and snuck out into the night. Not long after his disappearance, the news of it spread quickly, far and wide, causing panic. His people wondered where their beloved king had gone to, and some even feared something terrible had happened to him. Adama walked for days. He didn't care where he was going. He didn't want to be king anymore. He was hungry, weak and tired. His clothes were torn and his face was dirty from days in the wilderness. His body was thin and his eyes looked lost. He had nothing but the memories of his old life as a king, a life that had taken so much from him. One evening, after days of walking through the forest with no food, he stumbled into a small village. He was weak and barely able to stand. He fell to his knees and begged for food. His eyes were full of sorrow. That's when Zuri saw him. Zuri had always been kind, and when he saw the man begging on the street, something about him seemed familiar. Zuri looked closely and realized it was King Adama, the runaway king. Zuri couldn't believe his eyes. The mighty king reduced to a beggar in a few days. With a deep sigh, Zuri helped Adama to his feet. He took him into his home, fed him and gave him clean clothes. For the